On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Biden administration definitely got busted majorly. We've got about 6.5 minutes of video that's really tight, that really breaks that all down. Got a whole bunch of information. It is looking bad for the deep state. It is looking like that bump in the night has likely come upon us. And we are in this period of transition right now. So this is going to be an interesting time. This is one of those things where hopefully you had some of the supplies already. We suspected that we were going to have problems with China and getting chips and stuff, so a lot of us did a lot of things, a couple of years ago even. And here we are, well, kind of actually at that place. We'll see. We've got a war going on with China now that looks like China made the wrong move. We got a lot going on. Let's get into it. We'll just try to get moving. A bunch. And then I've got the music show today, too, for you guys maybe that are watching this super early when I put it out. We'll be doing some Jimmy Buffett. I got some great Buffett songs. And then we've got like Eagles. I got a couple Eagles tracks. I got like the Steve Miller Band. Got just some really kind of cool, groovy, fun music. So we're going to be hanging out and doing some of that today. I look forward to it. Hope you guys will join us 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. If not, just watch the replay. It's always good times there, too. And that is that. Oh, this is just funny. So this was kind of how I woke up this morning. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I woke up sexy as hell again today.
Yeah, I mean, just when you've got it, you got it, right? Man, that lady is firing on all cylinders. You can tell. This is just, it's cool, but let's just say Trump has decided he's no longer using golf carts anymore. It takes too long to get, onto the fairway and down by the hole. So he's just going to do it with Marine One from here on out. Don't know if you guys know this or not. I'm joking. Admit it, you expected Trump to hop out of the thing with some golf clubs. Come on. That would have been so freaking funny. Didn't happen, though. Something that did kind of happen just in relation to his helicopter. Apparently, it had a flat tire. He had to swap helicopters. This happened Thursday, I guess, on his way to a Florida golf club. And that might have been where he landed, by the way, to actually get him inside the golf club because it's significantly safer and easier. So entirely possible, but still, if he would have hopped out with clubs, oh man, can I play through? Yeah, no, cool, all right. Oh, it would have been fun as hell, fun as hell. Trump, you missed an opportunity, sir, but I know you nail it so often. You're constantly winning. What's a few times you could have won bigger? Seriously. This is, well, folks, again, being awake back in the 90s sucked. Again, there was a lot of us talking about stuff. It was a lot cooler because it was cool when you'd find somebody that was sort of awake, and you just the discussions you'd have. But this has been around a while, folks. We've known what was coming, been talking about it for over 30 years. Here's proof.
You want to enslave your child, your wife, your mother. There isn't anything that you ever had. There isn't anything that you own. There isn't any right that you possess that they're not planning on taking away.
Sheeple.
Your sheeple. And your children are going to be slaughtered if you go along with the program. It's time to wake the town and tell the sheeple. We are being led like sheep to the slaughter. What is the purpose? A new world order. The United States of America is controlled by this evilarchy. They control the money system. They control the State Department. They control the presidency.
So they have a plan to give us a new age world, global, occultic religion. They're going to have been deceived so greatly that they'll actually think it's something good. In fact, the whole New Age movement, the New World Order crowd is telling people that the 666 mark of the beast is the most elite thing that could ever happen to them.
No cash. cashless society. It's ready to go. Disease could be created. In essence, this is what he was saying.
We have new strains of virtually everything that's drug resistant or drug free.
I'm not worried about the old diseases. I'm worried about the ones that they create to bring down the population of the world. They simply want to exterminate them, but that they consider them to be useless eaters.
Words are very important to the Illuminati. These things are manufactured purposely for a purpose. And so I'm saying that there is something organized and directed, and it's here in this country.
Future shocker, biochip. And this is what Anthony showed you earlier, a biochip. That's an injectable computer chip, an economic mark in the back of our right hands or in our foreheads.
You've got a choice. You can join in this fight, or you can die as a slave.
Who else enjoyed when he said, manifest was purposely for a purpose, whatever it was? Oh, man. I couldn't even remember it long enough. But yes, we've been well aware of this ever since George Bush and his infinite speech, 1,000 points a lot, and all that stuff when he talked about the New World Order. It pretty much sank in with a bunch of us. Oh, cool, this is exactly where this should be. So all that being said, and Mayor Eric Adams talking about government gangsters, but here he actually talks a little more about what was going on with him. This was a really good interview. I kind of want to watch this with these guys. I like this comedian too. I think he's funny as hell. All said, this is pretty tight stuff. Check it out.
That we put in, but it is a shot at your like political career.
Oh, and it hurts.
Is it frustrating to not, or do you know who you think it came from? Like, is Biden aware of this, or is it the people that are like underneath Biden? Is it completely separate?
That's a great question. That's a great question. There are a lot of people, and I don't want to sound conspiracy theory, but there's a permanent government. There are people that see presidents and mayors come and go. Their attitudes will wait you out. You know what book is a great book, man? Everybody should read the book, Kash Patel's Government Gangsters.
Okay.
You should him on the pod.
Yeah, you should read that book, man.
Okay.
Cash breaks this down.
What is he? And is this what
he's now the FBI director?
Of course, we love Cash.
Yeah.
But is this like what people refer to? And I think this word has been used too much, but like the deep state or whatever it is.
It's not used too much. It's real, brother.
Oh, really?
Brother, think about it.
Who's part of it? Like, what are there current like senators and that kind of stuff, or is it people that we don't even know but they're always existing?
I have never seen anyone do such a good job of defining that deep state. You should have him on.
I would. Tell him to come on.
You should have him on.
We would love it.
The way he's
probably listening right now, right?
The way, because he was in. It's like me talking about what happens in NYPD after 22 years.
Yeah.
Cash was in the DOD. He was in the FBI. He prosecuted terrorists. So he comes with this wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
And the way he breaks it down,
yeah,
it's just unbelievable what this deep state is about and why it's so important for Americans that we cannot have a weaponizing of our prosecutorial powers. Now imagine the Southern District, right? Southern District of New York. That's one of the most powerful U.S. Attorney's office. In their mind, they say we're sovereign. You know what that means?
What do you mean they said they're sovereign?
That they don't have to answer to anyone.
Oh.
They don't have to answer to the president. They don't have to answer to the U.S. Attorney in Washington, the Attorney General in Washington. They believe they're a sovereign entity. You're not elected. You know what I'm saying? Imagine an entity believing they don't have to answer to anyone but
you
their
have to answer to the people. And ultimately the people that we put in power.
So we are all figuring it out as a people. We're all coming to terms. We're all waking up. Got this gentleman here. I don't know if you guys noticed, but he's a colored individual. He's actually going against everything that he's supposed to stand for, and he was a Democrat. And all of this is now going to get turned on him. And so many people are going to see that. You see, the people in the progressive left, the people that are truly running the Democrat Party, are evil. Truly, absolutely evil. That's the heart and core of the Democratic Party. It was part of the party of the slaves, right? Slave owners. Some of the horrific things that happened back then. Through much of some of the worst stuff that's happened in our history as a civilization in this country. Democrats have been a huge burden, if you will. And again, I'm not real fond of either side. I've said that hundreds of times, just right. I always feel the need to have to bring it up again. New York City Mayor Eric Adams said to be leaving the Democrat Party, and he's going to run for re-election as an independent. I like that. See, not everybody necessarily wants to run over to the Republican Party. Some of us like kind of just not having a party. It's fun. I know you're supposed to because of the voting and stuff, but anytime anybody tells me I'm supposed to do something, I immediately don't do what I'm supposed to do, because supposed to is programming. Anytime you say to anybody or yourself, this is what I'm supposed to do, you are programmed. Smack yourself in the face a few times and then see if you still keep saying it. Do what you feel is right. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Like if you live by just a few small little rules in life, you're going to have an amazing experience. And then if you start to pay attention to what's happening to you and what's being shown to you by source, God, creator, whatever, universe, capital letters in each case for every word, singular though. If you pay attention, you'll be amazed what you experience in life. It's one of those things that I love just to tell people to prove me wrong, because if you literally do it, I've not met anybody, with the exception of a few people that were just not awake, and then they explain stuff to me, and I'm like, and that doesn't count, and they're like, no. It wasn't like as specific as I was expecting. It's like, wow, okay. So, sometimes you can lead a horse to water. Stella X posted this. Really shady numbers coming in from the vote count in Madison, Wisconsin. How are there more votes from Madison, Dane County than Milwaukee? How does Madison have more than double the votes of Milwaukee with half the population? Someone is printing ballots. Yeah, we've got something that's going to have to be looked into. Now, hopefully, they went big enough with the cheat, and we got enough people out there to vote that it made it so difficult for them that it's obvious now, and will demand an investigation into this. One can hope. We're going to see how it all continues to play out. The root brands. I just actually finally ordered the stuff that I told you guys I was going to be ordering. I've just been forgetting. But if you want to go to therootbrands.com/Dan Radio Style. That's therootbrands.com/Dan Radio Style. I think shop, was it here? How do I shop, people? Oh, so yeah, I got the like workout pack. They got some cool stuff. Here it is. That'll get me there. therootbrands.com/Dan Radio Style. Now, first off, Zero In's awesome. I love this stuff. It just gives you good energy. It's just solid energy. I'm a little different than the nitric oxide from the other thing I do, but yeah, it's awesome. It really does help when I take one of these, and I already have the nitric oxide from the morning, but I'll take one of these and I can just sit down and literally just for 2 hours, and then I'd be like, oh crap, I need to like walk around or something. But it just helps you focus. It's why they call it that, or Zero In's what they call it. It's incredible, the product. It just gives you energy. It's got a little bit of caffeine, but it's got other stuff in it too. I don't really feel like when it wears off or anything, but very, very good stuff. Restore is another powerful, supports bone health, supports health, gut biome, help your blood pressure, and provides antioxidants and anti-inflammatory benefits. It's a delicious little liquid. I forgot what Otter Pop I used to say it tastes like. It's been a little bit since I've tried it. I've got some over there. I need to start doing it again. But another great product. Restore is one where you put a few drops in your tongue. It's got a very salty, kind of bitter taste. But about 5-6 drops on your tongue twice a day. This will actually help pull a whole lot of nasty stuff out of your body. It is a very powerful product. Which one am I talking about? This one here. Roots Cleanse. Was this Clean Slate? That one, yeah. Clean Slate. Passive cleansing, uses bioactivated silica, increases absorption, reduces inflammation. Stuff's awesome. So again, really, really powerful products. The ones I got was this whole Crush thing. It's all about working out, performance pack. So I got it. I wanted to try these different products. So I'm excited. So Crush, and again, it just helps with muscle protein, right? So they've got good stuff. Giving my youth back, Relive Greens. They've got some really, really powerful products. The Root Brands is just another great company. Much like Healthy Home, it's just a great company. It's in fact, it's how I found Healthy Home was through this company. It was somebody reached out to me that knew me from here. And it was just, I'm glad they did, because Healthy Home's fantastic as well. So this to me is just one that goes beautifully with them. The Root Brands, ROOT, therootbrands.com/Dan Radio Style. This one's also all over the world. There's a European side to it as well for my friends across the pond and whatnot. So something to consider, therootbrands.com/Dan Radio Style. And as you will notice, I'm not talking about Goldco today, and there's a good reason why. I helped the ones I was going to help. We'll see what happens, but you either got out or you didn't. And those that didn't, we'll see how big of an adjustment it is. We'll get there. China retaliates, though, against Trump with a 34% tariff on top of the tariff that they already had on U.S. goods, which this is going to mean that he's going to reciprocate that tariff. Now, this is what we wanted. We buy a lot of China's crap, a lot of it. And there's a huge infrastructure involved. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And this could stand to make us a bunch of money. Now, what we understand from the last time Trump did tariffs, specifically with China, is that the tariffs themselves affect the middlemen far more than the endpoint. The endpoint price didn't change that much. It went up a little. Didn't change that much. All of this money is in this middleman phase. This is where all the people are getting rich and doing the crazy stuff and some of the bad people. And tariffs affect them far worse than us. So by Xi Jinping doing this, well, as Trump said in his truth post, China played it wrong. They panicked. The one thing they cannot afford to do. And we got this. Because if we don't buy their crap for a short period of time, it will hurt them more than it hurts us. You can only store so much crap before you need to put it in a boat and ship it. So if you start shutting back manufacturing and start pulling back on that, you start to slow down your economy. If you start slowing down your economy, it's very hard to just immediately start picking it back up. This creates kind of a big problem for China. And China just walked right into the trap. Or, and I kind of think this is more the truth maybe, that this is going to be kind of the thing that people are going to hide behind. Countries are going to hide behind for their currency resets, for their reevaluations, for kicking the Fed out, for whatever the case is. Whatever strangeness comes from this, I think it's going to be played out. Countries fighting and acting like there's wars. We're going to get mad at you, and then just ultimately, I think this is just so we've got a public cover for what's got to happen, and that might just very well be the detaching from the central bank. Again, how this plays out, well, I don't know. I mean, we've had 2-3 really, really bad days in the stock market, so one could say we're having a bit of that bump in the road that I've been talking about. Trump has been sued now over the China tariffs. This is pretty awesome. And it's companies that basically do business with Chinese, and shipping and all that kind of stuff, container companies, whatever, right? Like all this whole group of these companies are the ones that filed this lawsuit. They're saying that Trump's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977, they're saying that law authorizes asset freezes and similar economic sanctions, but not tariffs. Whatever the case is, the suit was brought by the New Civil Liberties Alliance. It's a conservative legal advocacy group. Wait, hang on. Is that different? I thought this was brought by people we don't like. They were, 10% tariffs. I don't know. This might be a company that's quote unquote conservative, but yeah, anybody that's fighting Trump on what he's doing right now is, again, a lot of the stuff that needs to come out. People need to see this. We need to figure it out, figure out who we can trust, who we can't trust. Newsom is asking world leaders to exempt California exports from retaliatory tariffs. This is interesting. First off, what's funny is I don't know if they can, if they can do that, that's groovy. That's great for California, mainly probably the wine people, because he owns a vineyard and so does Nancy Pelosi and probably a few others of these people. And they get money from the government. They were getting USAID money. Nancy Pelosi, I think, got up $15 million for this special farming, and all they had to do was just have one small little place where they were doing that green farming. And the rest of their farm could be as not green as possible, but they'd still get that USAID money, which she supposedly got quite a bit of. Newsom also has a vineyard. So he's trying to work out a deal where they can still push out the wine without the tariff, because otherwise this will affect exports of California wine, which is probably one of our bigger exports. We've got a lot of produce and stuff too. So yeah, we probably sell shit all over the world. But that's kind of what Trump wants. And we've got a video that's going to kind of break that down a little bit. But he's forcing people to buy local. And he's making it harder for us to export stuff rather than consume it locally. And it's one of those things where, maybe we get rid of corn, just as an example, because we got a lot of it and we shouldn't be growing it quite like that. Hopefully farmers can open up stuff and start growing different things too, which would help the soil and everything. It's pretty brutal just growing the same stuff over and over, and our topsoil is destroyed. So again, a lot of problems. But if we suddenly start to have to eat more corn, or we start turning into feed, or whatever we got to do, we'll find a way. We always do. And it's important. So, yeah, if Newsom can pull this off, I'll be shocked. I don't think any of the countries will want to, because Trump's not going to give them any deals. That's for sure. But we'll see how it all plays out. NASDAQ was down a little over 5% earlier today, so it looks like it's rebounded a teeny bit. Now it's only down 4.7%. But, yeah, NASDAQ is down 15,766. Dow Industrial was down quite a bit, too. It looks like it's rebounded a tiny bit, but it's still down 3.93%. It's at 38,953. S&P is down 4.6% at 5148. Bad. Now, gold and silver are actually down, too, by the way. Gold's down to almost 3,000. So, again, this works out. I mean, for those that got out, especially, over the past, gold's gone up 43% in the past year. So anybody that's gotten out in the last year, you'll still see your growth, don't worry. But anybody that's gotten out prior to that, dude, you guys are set, right? Look at where you're at right now. And trust me, gold prices are going to go back up. Silver prices will go back up. Now, we'll see what happens to the market, but a lot of this is around the tariffs. So we got to let it play out. Today's obviously another bad day. Now, here is Trump using the term boom 4 different times. This is kind of a big thing with the Q movement.
I think it's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal? They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. For many years, we've been at the wrong side of the ball, and I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be unbelievable. The thing that people have to talk about, we're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country, and you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
And just in case you were wondering, that last one, our country's going to boom, was the 4th boom. They pulled up the one Q post, no relation in date. There are a couple Q posts that actually fall close to that date. I went ahead and pulled up boom. Now, single booms are one thing, but a lot of references to the 4 booms, a week to remember, dark to light, blackout necessary. Could be tied into that. Who knows? This is posted in June. Well, this one originally was posted June 3rd, yeah. But again, a great number of boom posts. Nothing, other than the worth remembering, just a lot of boomerang, but that's just not quite the same thing. 12668, which is the one they referenced, is just boom, 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 boom. So there's this, of course, the Comey one with the Moab boom, time baker. Let's see what else we got. Did they pick up the boom, boom, boom? Something is happening. This was 2420. Mr. President, Anons are actively tracking. Message received. Good. That's good. So, again, might directly relate. That was one of the ones that I thought felt kind of the closest. It has a date of November 5th. Whether that matters or not, don't know. We had this one, too. Now comes the real truth. Boom, 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 boom. They want you divided by race, religion, culture, class, right, the whole thing. That one probably has some relevance. Also, within a week, let's see, the last boom set. What a coincidence. Remember the Southwest. Remember Texas. 4, boom, 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 boom. And this was 4 planes make emergency landings in Chile, Peru, Argentina due to bomb threats, which probably had something to do with somebody. Just saying. A few of them booms. There's a number of them in here. A week to remember, dark to light. That was the original post, I believe, that was being referenced, June 3rd, 2018. So, yeah. Here's the original. April 17th, 2018. Boom, 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 boom. 3 booms. I don't know if it's got to be 3 and then the 4th, right? Anyway, I think sometimes people get really, really lost in this stuff. I think he's just using terminology to kind of talk to us specifically. This is pretty cool. Donald Trump, this article I would have ignored typically. It says he's purposely crashing the market. I'm like, oh, it's just someone trying to be a dick. But Donald Trump truthed this. He shared this on Truth. So let's watch it because it was actually really, really good.
Trump is crashing the stock market by 20% this month, but he's doing it on purpose. And this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. Now, here's the secret game he's playing, and it could make you rich. So why is he doing this? To push cash into treasuries, which forces the Fed to slash interest rates in May, and those lower rates give the Fed the ability to refinance trillions of debt very inexpensively. It also weakens the dollar and drops mortgage rates. Now, it's a wild chess move, but it's working. Now, you're probably wondering, what about his tariffs? Well, I'll tell you, it's a genius play. It actually forces companies to build here to dodge them. It also forces farmers to sell more of their products here in the US to bring grocery prices way down. We've already seen this with eggs. Now, remember, 94% of all stocks are owned only by 8% of Americans. So Trump, he's taking from the rich short term and handing it to the middle class through lower prices.
Kind of an interesting take. And Trump was sharing that, and I think that's some pretty decent analysis, to say the least. Apparently, Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, you might have heard of him, he's going to start the process of stepping down as chair of its board of trustees, weeks after the organization promised an overhaul after investigation into workplace discrimination. Yes. He says he's deeply convinced that in today's special context, the forum is more important and relevant than ever before, except probably everyone is bailing out of it. And with the U.S. aid funding drying up completely, it'll be surprising if the World Economic Forum is even able to survive at all. We'll see how that plays out. Senate Republicans took the first step towards approving a blueprint that unlocks President Donald Trump's agenda on Thursday evening with a test vote that cleared the upper chamber with near universal GOP support. A majority of Republicans voted to start debate on the budget resolution, which greenlights Trump's tax, border, and energy priorities, clearing the way for a marathon voting session and, ultimately, final adoption later this week. So we'll see if they can get that going. EU is preparing major penalties against Elon Musk, his X product, which is XAI now, apparently is the parent company. But European Union regulators are preparing major penalties, saying it could be upwards of $1 billion or more, mainly because he's not, in their opinion, cracking down on misinformation and that type of stuff. What I am curious about is if it's ever Americans that they're trying to silence, and in which case I don't think Musk would ever do that. But if Europe's like, you can't say these kinds of things in Europe, and it's like, well, they're not. They're saying it in America. You're just listening in Europe. So what? So anyway, I'm very curious to see how this goes. I know there is this approach right now, and I've got a story a little towards the end of Meta being sued. And I think that's actually to help a tiny-ass country to get some money. So I think that might even be like almost an act of kindness coming from Meta. But it makes you wonder, too. Meta would be a better example. Apple would be a better example than necessarily X. I know X is not sitting on piles of cash like Apple and Meta. Both those companies have insane amounts of just cash. Just cash. They're trying to figure out what to do with it all in most cases. So, yeah, they might have a little more to say. Amazon might be even in similar sort of situations. So, again, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, Europe's trying to be tough, but I think Trump's got Musk's back, obviously. Trump wants Musk to stay with admin as long as possible, hence that Doge found something horrible. This we will be sharing, I think, here. Yes, Doge did find something horrible, something very horrible. And, yeah, let's get into it because it's just too good to miss. This dude, Musk is with him, but he really does break it down beautifully. The complexity of this Social Security snafu that we caught. I'm going to let him tell it. I don't even want to try to preface it. It's just that we caught them. We caught them bigly. We caught them.
And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here where how many Social Security numbers were issued. Do you want to?
Yeah. So let me let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk a bit louder, maybe?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff they're working on. You've heard some of that already. But this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain. I'm pro-legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed us in this direction. I want to honor them right now, that work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people. Very good people. I have been from D.C. to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're an illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release from your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people, okay? So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we mapped the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
This is worth just reiterating. It's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep.
No.
They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it, and Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through, on every benefit program we went through, we found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people, in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why.
Right.
And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote in this population, yes.
And who did vote?
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote. And we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service.
Yeah.
Already. That is already happening. Right now. Yeah. And the truly disturbing thing, though, I just want you to know this, a truly disturbing thing to me, and the darkest thing about this to me, the voter fraud is terrible, but the human tragedy this created is extraordinary, because what you don't understand, and people don't know, and Americans need to know, that's why I'm here, is that human traffickers made $13 to $15 billion off of this, okay? That's the money that's going around the world, moving people around the world to our borders because of these incentives. How does it work? What happens? Hey, if you're in Africa and you're in Central America, you got to walk up through Mexico, through Central America. Who do you pay? You pay the narcos, you pay the traffickers. right? And we were told by ICE, it's between $20,000 and $500, depends where they pick you up, to walk across all those countries and get all the way up to the border. Where's that money goes? It goes to the cartels. It goes to human traffickers, right? There are 30,000 children that have not appeared on the notice to appear already. ICE knows this. 30,000 children, 270,000 children didn't even get notices to appear. ICE told us that kids are being trafficked back and forth across the border to complete families to make this easier. This is a human tragedy. It's not just the money, it's the people and the kids. And how many of these people died on the way up here that didn't make it in? What happened to them? We created a system here that created an incentive for people to come and be taken advantage of by these traffickers. And how do you think they get paid? What, you're in Africa, Central America, you got $20,000 or $10,000 or $5,000 to pay these traffickers? No, you don't. What happens? You come in, then you owe them the money. You're an indentured servant. If you don't pay them, what happens? What do? They kill your mother, they kill your brother, they kill your family. What happens next? That's what we discovered. And I have to tell you, it's tragic to me. The tragedy, the human tragedy this created is extraordinary. That's the real problem. This is America. We don't do this here in America.
Yeah.
We don't do this here in America.
Now, I mean, one of the things that's kind of funny about how data works is it's very easy to do what they did. You isolate all the Social Security numbers that fall into this category, and they kind of talked about them. And there's some descriptors that are very easy to get. So you get that list. And you don't have to know a lot, but you dump that into another table, essentially, right? You put that into another spreadsheet column, however you want to look at it. And then you link it directly to a whole lot of other systems on Social Security number. You do a direct link between those two tables, or any number of tables. You take that table that's got these illegal Social Security numbers, and you run that against voter registration. You run that against Medicaid. You run that against other benefits. You run that against any number of things, even criminal stuff. And you start to build some very interesting characteristics about these specific Social Security numbers. And then, as they pointed out, not only are they registered to vote in many cases, but did in fact vote already. That is illegal. It means the Biden administration was directly involved in illegally registering people that could not legally vote in federal elections, but were registering them to do that anyways, and giving them all the means necessary to make that possible. Now, of course, the people that don't believe in borders wouldn't like that very much, but this is a huge deal, in my opinion. We'll see how it all plays out in the big picture. Here's Trump talking about Laura Loomer, giving her a call out. I didn't want to play this, but I kind of don't like Laura, but she does every once in a while. I don't know what it is, whatever the case is. Maybe it's just because she's so good, I can't stand her. I don't know.
So Laura Loomer is a very good patriot. She is a very strong person. And I saw her yesterday for a little while. She makes recommendations of things and people. And sometimes I listen to those recommendations like I do with everybody. I listen to everybody and then I make a decision. But I saw her yesterday. She was at the ceremony. And she'll always have something to say, usually very constructive.
What did she recommend?
She recommended certain people for jobs.
Adding to the administration, not
adding.
Who did she not firing?
Well, she'll recommend that too. But yesterday she recommended some people for jobs.
Did she have anything to do with the NSC aides who were ousted?
No, not at all.
Do you know how many, sir? Do you know how many from the NSC?
Not many.
Was it 5, a dozen?
I really don't know.
Who does Loomer want?
There were a couple that I know.
Who did Laura recommend hiring?
Well, I don't want to say that, but she's recommended some good people over the years. She's been in the party a long time. She's done a good job.
Do you trust your national security staff is doing what you want them to do?
We've done very well. We've had big success with the Houthis, as you probably know. Nobody's been able to do it like us.
God, I hope I can fix that post-production. That audio was brutal. It seemed like it was high, but it was just all that airplane noise. So if you couldn't hear that, I apologize. You can sort of make it out. I'm going to see if I can clean it up as best I can, but No promises. Obviously, whatever you see that was my best effort. AG Pam Bondi announces the FBI has arrested 3 more MS-13 gang members.
Today, we're here to announce the arrest of 3 more MS-13 gang members who were in this country illegally, and they were in Florida, and we will be reviewing them. They've all been arrested for first-degree murder. We will be reviewing them to see if we will seek the death penalty. This has been a long-running investigation that started in 2015.
Yeah. And if you're anybody living in any of those neighborhoods, or you come across people that are tatted like this, you know what's up. You know to just kind of step back a little bit, because these people will, they will jump into extreme violence without any question and with little provocation. So good that we're catching some people. Trump shows off the gold card. If you got $5 million, you can buy your way into this country, which, I mean, many would say that's just stupid. You're just letting rich people become citizens. Well, here's the thing. That's what you kind of want. You want people that have money. You want people that have influence. You want people that have take care of themselves. You don't want a bunch of people that instantly have to get on Medicaid the second they get here and start taking benefits from actual legal citizens. So, yeah, it's not actually that bad a thing. That's why normal citizenship, by the way, for those that don't know this, it requires a sponsor. Someone that basically says, yeah, if they get destitute, I'll take care of them. I got this. I will back this up. And that's what the government's basically going, yeah, because we don't want to have to pay for them, right? You get it? So, yeah, no, what the Bidens were doing were, well, just criminal, frankly. But we'll see how it all plays out again. Like I said, they're going after Trump for crazy, trying to stop him from doing all this stuff. And the information's coming out about what they're trying to stop him from doing, which is illegal stuff, giving money to illegal organizations, giving money to who knows who owned these LLCs that were just freshly created before that $20 billion was stuck into a fund that they could all have access to. Just insane amounts of stealing. And that was one of his last-minute little efforts that Biden did. And again, he probably got some of that, but I bet you a bunch of that was going to other people entirely. And they had to split up amongst a number of different groups. Here's President Trump talking about being okay with proxy voting in the House. I kind of agree with Speaker Johnson that I think it's illegal. I think they should be able to vote in person. I think when you kind of open it up, you make it very easy to cheat. And we'd seen that taken advantage of during COVID. And they tried to extend that COVID proxy voting for an extended period of time. So, maybe Trump's just trying to stay out of it, whatever. I'm going to give Luna a chance to redeem herself, maybe. But Trump's saying it's okay. So, I could just be being a dick, and maybe I just need to accept this, right? That would be our advice typically to people that are like, just trust Trump. I do. I trust Trump. So if I'm wrong on this, that's cool. I don't like it, though. I don't like it at all. But okay, I can back it.
Did you talk to Congresswoman Luna about her resolution to give maternity age? The Congresswoman about her resolution to allow proxy voting for new mothers? Did you speak to them?
I did, and I would say this. I guess there's 2 sides to it, right? It's a little controversial. I don't know why it's controversial. I think she's great. Anna.
Do you support her movement to have maternity proxy voting?
I think that. And I'm going to let the speaker make the decision, but I like the idea of being able to, if you're having a baby, I think you should be able to call in and vote. I'm in favor of that, but I understand some people aren't. I'm not involved in the issue, but I did. I spoke to Anna yesterday. She and some people feel strongly about it, and I would agree with them, yeah.
Anna, sorry. Trump is very respectful when it comes to, well, people's names that he likes. Otherwise, he'll just give him a nickname, I guess, right? Pocahontas, for that matter. That's one of the best nicknames ever. Trump administration is set to pause $510 million for Brown University. Administration, again, more of this anti-Semitic types of behaviors happening at these schools. $510 million is a crap ton of federal money. Maybe this is just an excuse to stop a lot of this spending to colleges. These colleges, I mean, they're doing research. That's what a lot of these grants are for. Now, that's the question, is what kind of research. Maybe they just don't even want to get into it because some of it's so absurd. And they're just using this as an excuse. Again, optics are something that's funny. It's been said all over the place, right? We're going to know about 20% of the truth. Okay? So most everything is not being shown to us. Now, some of us pull a little bit of extra something in the different tools we've got available to us, but maybe on a good day, an extra 10, 20% of information, maybe up to 40% we might have, but we'll never have confirmation. We'll never have a smoking gun, but we'll be pretty sure we were right? And we've been the case with a lot of these conspiracy theories. Some of them we've been wrong on. We've got to be honest with ourselves. It's know thyself. It's very important. We've got a judge considering whether to hold Trump officials in contempt for violating court orders on the deportation flights. Judge Boasberg. He's looking at whether probable cause existed to hold Trump administration officials in contempt for violating his orders. What is he going to put them in jail? I'm going to put the president in jail. District Court, one of 700 district court judges says. This dude's tied into all sorts of crazy stuff, though. This guy he was in FISA as well. We've got a lot of these guys that are sort of floating to the surface right now, right? The creme de la creme, as they would say. Well, this individual with the giant hole in his haircut. That's not even a hole in his haircut. He's just, it's worse. It's been removed. It's barren. But yes, he's going to take this up. We'll see. We got another judge doing it. We know Boasberg. We've been talking about. He even got the Signal app one. He's got that case right now, and of course got the case regarding the Trenderawa. And I think Trump's just like, so this is what we're doing. We're fine within our rights, and so therefore your court order is kind of like strange. Like these people are already in the other country, and you're still keeping this case alive. It's like, whatever. I find us in contempt. It's just going to get interesting because we got judges that are operating outside of probably what their legal right really is, but it's not been defined. Well, it has previously. The Supreme Court's got that strong case. They were talking about it 2 shows ago, maybe. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, it's the movie. It can only play out in this day-to-day fashion, and a lot of us are, waiting on our hands and feet. We're trying to guess what's going to happen next. I think it's funny. I don't even do that in real movies. It's rare for me ever to try to guess what's going to happen next because, frankly, it kind of ruins it because now I'm not even paying attention to the movie at the moment. I'm focused on what might be happening tomorrow, right? But what about right now? Because right now is really what matters. Nothing in the tomorrow matters yet. It will when tomorrow's now, but tomorrow's never going to be now. Tomorrow's always some point that's not now, right? Now is always now. It's the eternal now. And it's an important thing to kind of start to wrap your head around at some point. There is only the now. That's it. There will only ever be the now. When you die and you're and you're like, oh my God, I think I'm dead because that's my body down there. It's still going to be now. Now is a fun thing. It truly is. Federal judge ruled Friday that U.S. President Donald Trump's administration violated a court order by halting the disbursement of hundreds of millions of dollars in federal emergency management agency grants to states. Who wants to bet Judge McConnell is tied up in some of that? His and his family. This is Providence, Rhode Island. Of course, it's part of that, really just the original 13 colonies of this country, although fantastic, are probably the most corrupt of the entire lot. And many of the people I've talked to that come from these places would agree, especially Massachusetts. Massachusetts supposedly is they've written the rules on how to do this. We got a Pentagon independent watchdog has announced it's agreed to requests from the top senators and is launching a probe into the use of the commercial messaging app Signal. I'm very curious how this ends up going, because if there's any truth to any of the stories that are all over the place, obviously the mainstream media is not talking about it, but whatever. But Signal was used prior to the Trump administration. Signal is approved. Signal was used, numerous people, NSA, original people, a whole bunch of people have used Signal prior to Trump even coming back into office. So if that's true, and they just continued using something that was automatically installed on their government device or their government-issued computers, devices. They set them up with the software you're allowed to have, and they don't let you install anything else on them. This is what you can use. This is what you can do. If something you want to do, They might figure out a way to be able to do that, but not with your government device. So this is weird to me. Like, okay, let's look into it. And I don't know if this is just meant to be the official thing, so when they can finally come out and say, oh, here's the funny thing about Signal. They've been using it forever. And then let's look at who that mayor chick is the one that's in charge of that. And what? She was on the board of, what's the other crap thing? Like, she's tied together some bad stuff. This is just insanity. And again, I say any application that claims to be secure is not. The standard, I mean, you can encrypt all you want. Yay. No one's going to bust the encryption. Get you, 100%. Even, I don't know, quantum computers might take them a couple seconds, but it's not going to happen. Not going to waste time doing that. But you just hack one of the other two ends, the endpoints. Either side. It doesn't need to be both. It could be your device, the central server, which is the one that would make the most sense. That's actually where you would try to do. You would fish for employees that would finally give you access, and you would dump something on there, and you would own it forever, and you'd never say anything, and it'd always just be something you had kind of, at your fingertips. And probably with great rights, to be able to delete records and stuff like that. So, again, a lot that we're never going to see is happening, and we'll never know. Best we can do is try to follow the breadcrumbs and see if we can figure out what the story was while breadcrumbs were somehow getting left on the ground. We know where they're going. We get that. Don't know why they were dropping breadcrumbs. We don't understand what they were talking about. We don't, right? Like, there's a whole lot of this that we just don't know, and likely never will. Trump administration on Wednesday implored a federal judge in Washington to dismiss a lawsuit filed by Perkins Coie, which accuses the president of unlawfully targeting the Hillary Clinton-linked law firm. A 34-page motion, blah, blah, blah. Executive order directs agencies to do what they should already be doing, decline to contact with entities who act inconsistently with valid social policies regarding discrimination, and calls for lawful examination of security clearances and government access of employees on plaintiff's firm. This is Trump just taking back control of the government. States sue to block Trump's election order, saying it violates the Constitution. Federal elections are a federal thing. Now, Trump doing executive orders for everything it's a twofold thing. The problem is a lot of this stuff should likely be done by Congress, but Congress is either A, so broken, or B, kind of somehow in a state that's not legitimate. I don't know. I feel like there's this hint of illegitimacy kind of going on. I don't know exactly. It's probably not exactly precisely around that word, but really close to it when we finally see what this is. But where we're at right now is just insanity. So, yeah, they're going to block Trump and say it's illegal. Of course, it's the same 19 states that are doing everything else. Lawfare. Again, it's the Supreme Court and the courts, I think, are going to start to expedite stuff like this because it's just ridiculous, but it helps. Donald Trump, just another example of winning, even though it's a tiny-ass country, but it brings me great joy because that now means for my lady friends out there and the few gentlemen that are strong enough in their manliness to be able to go and enjoy a mani-pedi. Oh, it's so good. So good. Actually, the place I sometimes go for the mani-pedi. I'll be honest, it feels awkward. I get them, I don't know, twice a year maybe. But the chick does a facial. When she told me she did that, I'm like, all right, let's try that. And I was like, all right, done. We get one of those every once in a while because those are just freaking awesome. Now, all said, she's Vietnamese. That was my point. Which, yeah, that should imply a whole bunch of things for people out there. The leader of Vietnam, I think they're a communist party, by the way, but To Lam, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, is General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, told us that he says, no, we don't want to have tariffs anymore. We want to be cool with you, please. So Donald Trump is, working out a deal with these countries. Now, he probably understands, and so maybe there's a slow reduction, we half it and then we get rid of it, but he understands that some of these countries have been using this money for budgets for a long time, but his point, and they agree, is why are we subsidizing something that we shouldn't have to subsidize anymore? You've just been taking advantage of this money. So they've got to figure out how to fix their budgets, essentially. and maybe get better at manufacturing the products that we love buying. I mean, there's a great deal of stuff that comes from Vietnam that we love here in the States. So, yeah, keep it up. Donald Trump truth this as well. This would be a perfect time for Fed Chairman Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. He's always late, but he could now change his image and quickly. Energy prices are down, interest rates are down, inflation is down, even eggs are down 69%, and jobs are up all within 2 months. A big win for America. Cut interest rates, Jerome, and stop playing politics. Well, Jerome came out and basically said, yeah, no. Said it's too soon to decide. Says the tariffs are expecting the stock market a little more than expected. Trump is urging Powell to cut interest rates, but he's saying no. And we also added 228,000 jobs, supposedly. I think we're hopefully reporting accurately now, but there's no guarantee on that. Curious if anything's changed. Ow, S&P's almost at 5% down. Yikes. Yikes. Oh, shucks. Totally lost where I was. Let's see if we can find it. Well, let's find it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's find it together. No. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Washington, D.C.'s top prosecutor to probe alleged media leaks on the January 6 cases. This is kind of fun. He's looking into where these leaks were happening because they caused significant problems for the prosecutors and for people trying to get fair times in court, the January 6 people. Martin, a key Trump ally who repeated the president's false claims of election fraud in 2020, has admitted to being on Capitol grounds on the day of the riots. The office he now leads prosecuted some 1,600 of Trump's supporters who stomped the building in a failed bid to block Congress from certifying President Joe Biden's election victory. Trump granted clemency to all of them first day. It's obviously written like Politico or who is this? Which one of these guys? Oh, Reuters. Yeah, same thing, right? So you get the taste, right? They put that flavor in there. So yeah, the D.C. top prosecutors looking into this leak that came out damaged the parties. And Ed Martin's looking into who these leaks came from. Hopefully it's somebody really high up the food chain because this person is not only going to get fired, they're actually going to have criminal prosecution thrown against them. What they did was illegal. Very illegal, in fact. Not even just, it's a political thing. No, that's illegal. Can't do it. Politics are supposed to be set aside in the eyes of the law, though we obviously know that's not the case. I think we had another story around him as well coming up. Trump administration has hired the director and deputy director of the National Security Agency. Fired the director and deputy director of the NSA. Fired. Yeah, big deal. Dismissal of General Timothy Ha, also leads the U.S. Cyber Command. The military's offensive and defensive cyber unit is a major shakeup of the U.S. intelligence community, which is navigating significant changes in the first 2 months of the administration. Also, Wendy Noble, Ha's deputy at NSA, was also removed, according to former officials. It wasn't immediately clear why, but we understand that they are gone. Now, here's the funny thing. The way they spin it in CNN is, we just lost two of the most important positions. Oh, we're not safe anymore. And it's like, folks, we just replaced two of the biggest problems we had in two very specifically important locations that have now been removed. We are now safer than we were prior. With them gone, with their access removed, with them no longer navigating the waters, we are safer, in fact. Dr. Oz, he's made it through this full Senate vote, and he will be sworn in as the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Also, we've got Harmeet Dillon has also been sworn through, or passed the votes, I guess. She's supposed to take on the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, but she made it through the Senate 52-45. So she is on her way to being sworn in as well. One Republican, Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, voted no. Of course, because Lisa Murkowski doesn't like people of color and doesn't like women. She's obviously racist. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, she's up there with white people land. I mean, you have to. You have to be white up in Alaska, otherwise you can't blend in with the snow. Yeah, otherwise the polar bears will find you and they'll eat you. Gobble you up. U.S. judge is going to hear lawsuit of a man deported to El Salvador in error. Whoops. We're paying them to keep him in jail. What I'm wondering, and again, we didn't bring him back because if we literally sent somebody there in error and then he got there and they're like, hey, I don't think you meant this. This is not the same Manuel that you thought it was, you know? And we're like, oh, shit. Yeah, can we get him on the next, fly him back or something? It didn't happen like that. The dude's still in jail there being paid for by us. We obviously feel like he's a criminal. So Reuters is telling us there's a judge in Maryland. Oh, is that over in that original 13 colonies? Huh. That's strange. A judge over in Maryland is scheduled to hear arguments on Friday over the erroneous deportation of Salvadoran man who's flown to El Salvador last month. Oh, no. So, yeah, attorneys for the man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. His first name is Kilmar. It's all one L. Maybe that matters. Maybe it's Kilmar. I don't know. Maybe say it cooler like that, right? Because it's Spanish. Anyway, Kilmar. Just soft roll on the R. Don't go all like Kilmar. Right? Nah, that'd be 2 R's. Then you just get ridiculous on it. Not necessary, but sometimes nothing is. We're all about having fun, at least in my mind, folks. I've got to get through this hour and a half of recording. I've got to enjoy it somehow. This is a couple really good videos about like vaccinations and stuff. Again, we're finding a lot of information. It's nice having Kennedy in place, and I think we're going to learn some of the real truths that are not necessarily told to us by the pharmaceutical companies because they're the ones that have done a lot of the studies, or the people that are in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. So finding out some real truth is going to be powerful. Here is some of those facts.
How many children or people are totally unvaccinated? Is that where do you find? Is it just the parents that stepped up and said? I would think that's a very small percentage because so many of us blindly followed, the recommendations to vaccinate children.
Yeah, it's less than 1% of the public. So the Amish are a perfect example of a large group of people who are largely unvaccinated, and there's we can't find an autistic kid who was unvaccinated. It's very, very rare in the Amish community. Very, very rare. You won't find kids with ADD, with autoimmune disease, with pans, with epilepsy. You just don't find any of these chronic diseases in the Amish. And the U.S. government has been studying the Amish for decades. But there's never been a report out to the public. The reason, of course, is it would show that, if you don't follow our guidelines, you're going to end up healthier. That's why there's no report after decades of studying the Amish. There's no report because the report would be devastating to the narrative. It would show that the CDC has been harming the public for decades and saying no.
Yeah, there's this part of me that wants to bring in that Amish song from Weird Al Yankovic. I like Weird Al a lot. I'm probably going to feature a whole hour of him one time, which is probably going to be almost not a good idea. But he's got, honestly, so many good songs. Not just the ones that are mimics of original songs, which I'd probably have to focus heavily on. He wrote a lot of really, really good stuff. Not just his polkas. But he wrote some really, really good stuff that was just like original Weird Al songs. But anyway, he did an Amish song. I don't even know what song it was spoofing, frankly. But needless to say, I might have to play it one of these days. The polio vaccine contained a virus called simian virus 40. Here's, our Health and Human Services dude or whatever telling us all about it. Here's John F. Kennedy explaining how this works.
The polio vaccine contained a virus called simian virus 40, SV40. It's one of the most carcinogenic materials that is known to man. In fact, it's used now by scientists around the world to induce tumors in rats and guinea pigs in labs. But it was in that vaccine. 98 million people who got that vaccine in my generation got it. And now you've had this explosion of soft tissue cancers in our generation that kill many, 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 many more people than polio ever did. So if you say to me that the polio vaccine was effective against polio, I'm going to say yes. And if you say to me, did it kill more people, did it cause more deaths than avert, I would say, I don't know, because we don't have the data on that.
But he's asking the question out loud, which is always important. So, yeah, we're learning a lot of things. Hopefully we're going to get some real facts, stuff that they can't now censor, right, because they don't like it. Healthy Home's been awesome to me, too, just health-wise. Love the STEM Active. In fact, we're selling so much STEM Active, folks. They're having a special little meeting with me. We might get some sort of new, I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of it, but they're like, we might be able to work out something for your STEM Active people because so many people like it, like in our audience. So more to follow on that, but that's one of the things that I'm trying to work out with you here. That's why it's sometimes important to have these conversations with people. But danradiostyle.healthyhome.com or heal thy home, kind of a fun way to look at it. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. STEM Active stem cells, they do healing work on the body. It's an easy way to do it. They help your body create more stem cells. There's no stem cells inside the product. It helps your body do its own stem cell creation, but kicks it up a notch. 25 to 40% more stem cells floating around your body. Stem cells are cells that are androgynous. They can become other cells. So if you've injured parts of your body, you've got muscle, skin, joint injuries, you've got heart, lung injuries. These are cells, these androgynous cells, if you will, can go to the heart and latch on and become a heart cell. It just literally will spend the rest of its existence as a heart cell, no longer androgynous. It finally has decided what it is. And that's how stem cells work. They're powerful. There's two ways to get it. The gel is actually less expensive, so by a few bucks, but it matters. It's easier to take, probably. The pills are supposedly big. I like the pills. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. But the gel's a little cheaper, same thing, and it gets into your system probably faster. So I'm going to say try to get the gel, but you get 30 packets. It's, basically a month's worth, and that's an easy way to do it. Balance is a hormone support supplement. It doesn't provide hormones. There's no hormones in this product. It, again, helps your body kind of deal with the changes that happen as we age. I'm going to put it like that, and then anybody wants to read into it, they can. Collagen peptides is the most important collagen, one, as far as trying to get it into the body. Two, it is the most important protein in your body. So just this product here, Amaze, it will amaze you. It'll help with your skin, your hair, your sagging skin, even as we age. Sore muscles, right? Just a lot of the things that start to happen. This collagen is missing in our bodies. As we age, you make less and less. This helps put more of it in your body. This product's very powerful. Again, it absorbs quickly. It'll help with all sorts of ailments, certainly hair, nails, all that stuff. Very, very good. AO12 is an antioxidant. It strips some of that stuff out of your system. It's just good to take some sort of antioxidant thing, especially as we age and if we don't have really good diets or don't take care of ourselves, or maybe like me, drink too much alcohol. Like, you just got stuff floating around in you that's trying to do damage every chance it can. With an antioxidant product, it helps remove some of those things, and it helps actually slow down the aging process. Again, powerful products. Prime just gives you more energy. I love this stuff. This stuff's awesome. I read it. It gives you just more energy. It helps your libido. Helps, it just, for whatever reason, it just opens up your blood vessels. Just more blood's going through you and flowing through you. You're just doing it better. Especially as we age, because obviously restrictions start to happen on a lot of the vascular stuff in our bodies. This is a very good product. And STEM Active for pets, I don't know. I mean, I love Pet Club. I love them a lot. So, of course, danradiostyle.petclub247.com. I think that Coriolus versicolor mushroom is super good for a long-term kind of process. But I think if you've had an animal, maybe it's had surgery, maybe it's even to the point like you got it fixed even, right? But something's happened, it's got the cone on, whatever the case is, STEM Active is actually going to help enhance your pet's healing speed significantly. It does the same thing that it does in us. It just enhances the amount of stem cells inside your dog's or cats or pets' bodies and allows them to actually heal faster. Again, the thing I talk about with the STEM Active, it's why I love it. My girlfriend's seeing benefits, but she's got calcification. So she's got a legit physical, I don't know, to me, one, it's better. Her first movement's really brutal, but then once she gets it, now she's actually able to raise her hand, and if she's actually done that prior to me walking into the coffee shop, I'll get a real hug now, when I didn't. I just used to get the shoulder. So now she's actually, giving me hugs again. It's kind of nice, and it's enjoyable. So stem cells seem to help in some of the greatest places. So things to keep in mind on danradiostyle.healthyhome.com, danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. join.com. Now, the other thing, I've talked about this. I don't want to spend too much more time, though. Sorry, it's worth it, I think. Join. If you're somebody that's a content creator, if you're somebody that's actually got an audience that's starting to expand, you want to think about having some advertisers. In my opinion, the best way to do advertising is to have companies that you truly love and are using as well, right? Same thing. And so you enjoy the product and you talk about how great the product is and you share this newfound freedom that you've experienced because of it. So this is a great way for you to be able to, there's kits. You got to buy like a little kit. I mean, it's not that it's all about that, but it's, I think they just want to know you're serious or whatever. I don't really know. That a lot of companies do this. This is not uncommon. Theirs are not bad, by the way. They've got some reasonably priced kits that are not horrible. But it's a way you're going to get your own little, website stuff. You're going to get your own little link, all that cool stuff. So if you go to join, then you actually start to make commission yourself. And it's kind of a great way to expand. And, even as you're growing slowly, it's just kind of worth it because you start getting something and then you start becoming accustomed to like, oh, wow. Like I can actually afford a microphone because 3 months now I've made a couple $100, right? So I've got $600-700. I can buy one of those SM7Bs. Those are about $350. No way. I can get a good microphone and a board's only $150. Dang. All right. Now I'm playing. So again, people kind of look at it too much from I got to pay my rent to, hey, I just need to be able to buy a microphone or maybe a slightly better webcam or maybe a laptop. That's something you can save up for. But again, it's that progression. I just love the fact that you guys are involved. Really, it means so much to me. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Join, become of it. If not, there's great products. Just keep buying away. Either way, it's such a great products. Love them. I got the collagen right there, and I got the nitric oxide every day. Those 3 products, just love it. Absolutely love it. All right, this Russell Brand stuff, kind of sad. I don't know. I like Russell. I actually think he's a good soul. He reminds me of me. He is way more like. I've never had the ability to go down the bad boy rabbit hole that he did, but I was like I learned a lot of lessons along the way and still very flawed individual that I think it offers perspective, frankly, at this point in my life. But yeah, I'm not an award-winning man. It's like, let's put it that way. You're not going to ever get me to win any sort of stupid thing like that. But he's apparently raped a bunch of people. This is what's coming out now. Russell Brand's charged with rape and sexual assault. I think he lives here in the States now, but this is in England where he has apparently done these things. And, I mean, again, I want to play his comments. You guys decide how you feel, and it has to go to court if it goes to court, but we're noticing a lot of this type of stuff with a lot of people, aren't we? And Russell Brand's become very successful in his platform. And so I think it's worth keeping in mind that some of us that are this is one of the reasons why I'm sometimes happy I'm not the biggest one out there because, I'm hoping this doesn't have to happen to me, but if it does, it does, and I'll be prepared for it when it does, but that's not, these guys are huge compared to me, thank God. All said, this is what's happening.
Monday. Hello. Firstly, thank you for these incredible and overwhelming messages of support. We're very fortunate in a way to live in a time where there's so little trust in the British government. We're very fortunate, I suppose, that this is happening at a time where we know that the law has become a kind of weapon to be used against people, institutions, and sometimes entire nations that will not accept and tolerate levels of corruption that are unprecedented. I'm speaking particularly to those of you that are watching this in the UK. How do you feel about your legal system right now? How do you feel about some of the high-profile cases that are not being pursued and prosecuted? How do you feel that the Southport murders were handled? How do you feel about the government of Keir Starmer? Now, that's just sort of general context. I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, who were just out of shot over there, my beautiful children, I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes. I want to thank all of you for your continuing support. I want to let you know that our show will be on Rumble on Monday. Thanks for your support there. And of course, I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. In the meantime, you lot, stay free, and we will be continuing to discuss this matter. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. So again, it's a fight that happens on so many different levels. The information war happens on so many different levels. Like it is so hard for most of us think very linearly in a line, like very like binary. I do this, then I do that, then I do this, then I do that, then I do this, then I do that. But some people realize I can do two things at once, literally. You've got two hands, and like stocking, for example, in grocery, right? That was one of the big things that you instantly just get on people when they're just stocking one-handed, right? It's like, dude, you got two hands, use them. And that's the thing. Boom, boom, boom. Every time you should be using both hands. And so just right off the bat, I've just doubled my production just by getting somebody to use their second hand. Many of us can't do that. It's very hard. And then get into a drummer, for crying out loud. Phil Collins. Dude could use all four, right? Both legs differently, both arms differently, and he could sing at the same time. That's like, damn. Dude, you were using your whole brain. That's probably why his hair all fell out, that jumped out of his head, because the poor guy was using his whole brain so much that literally the hair is like, and you start jumping out like, sounded like, hopefully dogs jumping. Maybe not. Like again, the sound effects guy is off this week. Sorry. The witch hunt against Marine Le Pen, that's the French conservative lady, is another example of European leftists using lawfare to silence free speech and censor their political opponent, this time going so far as to put that opponent in prison. It's the same playbook that was used against me by a group of lunatics and losers like Norm Eisen, Andrew Weissman, and Lisa Monaco. They spent the last 9 years thinking of nothing else, and they failed. Because the people of the United States realized that they were only corrupt lawyers and politicians. I don't know Marine Le Pen, but do appreciate how hard she worked for so many years. She suffered losses, but kept on going, and now, just before what would be a big victory, they get her on a minor charge that she probably knew nothing about. Sounds like a bookkeeping error to me. It's all so bad for France and the great French people, no matter what side they are on. Free Marine Le Pen. Amen. Amen. Like it. South Korea's constitutional court unanimously removed Yoon Suk Yeol. He's gone. He was the dude that did the temporary restraining order. Well, it's very short. What do they call it? Martial law, sorry. Now, again, there was a dude saying that a coup was happening and he was driving in, and when he declared martial law, it broke that up. The guy was literally streaming this online, not Yoon Suk Yeol, but the dude that was about to take over the government, that was about to do a coup, was streaming it. So in my mind, this has always been the deep state desperately trying to remove a major roadblock? I don't know. Because Yoon Suk Yeol, I think, was working with us in the proper ways. And anyway, well, we'll see. We'll see. Whatever the case is, the dude's been removed. That's happened. I'm sure Trump's going to have comments at some point, too. But for now, we'll deal with it. I think this was just funny, if I remember correctly. Yes, this was not funny. This is just beautiful. My understanding of the Bible is definitely altering in a large extent, and definitely probably not necessarily as congruent with everybody else. But this was well said. I think this is in the right vein, in the right direction, and I love it. So this I thought was powerful, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And I thought this was beautiful. And this dude loves Jesus. So this is all sorts of right things happening simultaneously.
You've got to watch this.
I was going to tell you something. The Lord is my shepherd. That's a relationship. I shall not want. That's supply. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. That's rest. He leadeth me beside the still waters. That's refreshment. He restoreth my soul. That's healing. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness. That's guidance. For his name's sake. That's purpose. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. That's testing. I will fear no evil. That's protection. For thou art with me. That's faithfulness. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. That's discipline. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. That's hope. Thou anointest my head with oil. That's consecration. My cup runneth over. That's abundance. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That's a blessing. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord. That's security. Forever. That's eternity. Face it. God loves you. What's the most valuable is not what we have in our lives, but who we have in our lives. It's not what we have in our lives. It is who we have in our lives. Remember that.
Good stuff. Miss Lady 149. So yeah, good stuff. I mean, again, yeah. It's funny is, and the reason I'm all kind of weird about it is the book, literally like 5 or 6 of those points are so spelled out in the book. And so my understanding is very different, but I also have come to this funny appreciation lately. One, and I've had a lot of people come out and say, hey, Dan, I think you should keep talking to you. That's, it's affecting and helping nudge some people. And two, for me, it was the learning to appreciate there are kind of many levels that many of us are at, right? Like martial arts is a great example to give for anybody that's ever done it. You get it. I've done it a little. I don't want to act like I'm super good or anything, but I spent a few years in martial arts. And there's a big difference between somebody that's brand spanking new versus somebody that's been there a little while, or a while anyway, versus somebody that's literally disciplined, studying, been doing just for years. There's a big difference. There is no difference in quality of person. There's no difference in any of that. One's not better necessarily than the other. They're in different phases of the same thing, right? Different parts of that experience. You cannot become the black belt until you've been a white belt or a yellow or, orange, green, whatever, blue, whatever colors you got to go through, right? You've got to work through that progression. So appreciating that has been something that I think I've got to get better at. I hope I do anyway. But yeah, I think that's been some of my problem is I've been very fixated on kind of telling you guys the crazy shit that I'm like, oh dude, this thing just hit me today and I want to share it with you all. And maybe realizing that maybe that's not the best idea. Like some of it I will for sure, but I got to keep it. I don't know. It's one of the hard parts about talking to a lot of different people. I'm just trying to be as straight with you guys as I can. I'd love to tell you all the crazy shit on my thing, but I honestly fear that I would lose viewers, which I don't want to do. I'm not necessarily censoring myself, but I'm just trying to learn limits, right? You guys don't like it when some of you guys don't like it when I use the F word too much or at all. A lot of you guys love it, which I appreciate, but not everybody, And it's just one of those things where it's like, how do you balance this? Because I'm gonna use the F word. Don't take that away from me. That's too good a thing. It's like telling me I can't have steak. No. Twitter Files journalist Matt Taibbi sues Democratic lawmakers for $10 million defamation suit. What's funny about this one is this, and I like this, and we'll follow it and see what happens. I'm sure they'll settle. But this chick's name's Democratic California Rep. Sydney Kemlager Dove. So she accused him of being a serial sexual harasser. She did this on the floor, the House floor or whatever, which is protected speech. She can say whatever she wants on the House floor and cannot get in trouble for it. It's why Adam Schiff did what he did. Okay? But what happened after is where she's in trouble. She posted on X the same thing. Now she has made a public statement and one that she's already backed up on the floor, but now she's done it in such a way that it's not protected speech. Now she might be liable. Well, she might be liable for libel. Wouldn't it be better to say it that way? He might be able to get her for libel. I don't know. I don't like that legal talk. It's too difficult. Weird words. Can't even pronounce half of them. Rep Mary Miller's GOP rep, I guess. Mary Miller plans to strip Planned Parenthood of taxpayer funding through reconciliation. Congress must fulfill constitutional duty. She's going down a different path. That's what this is all about. this whole reconciliation concept, or CR, right? That's continuing well, that's continuing resolution, but yeah, it's usually a reconciliation that's in there. And maybe I'll look up one of these days. I don't know. Maybe I'll get smart and kind of dig into it a little further. But there is kind of the purpose of doing reconciliation is like this weird. They're skirting around something. I don't know enough about it to be able to speak even unintelligently on it. You just sound like an idiot, be like a 2-year-old, huh? But yeah, there's some. This is how we're winning. Kind of, we're using this stuff against them. They put all this crap in place because they were hoping that we'd be the ones that get F by it. They never thought we'd get control of the ship. They never thought it. It still cracks me up. Order stopping Ohio's ban on puberty blockers for minors stands. Orders stopping for minors stands. No way. Oh, it did. Okay. So yeah, they're letting it stop for now. The upper court, I think, said, all right, well, we'll let this stay in effect because that could actually cause damage versus not doing it, right? So they're looking into it. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. Ohio's all over the place. They're important, obviously, in many, 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 many ways. But yeah, there's a lot of strange stuff going on in Ohio, and certainly it is catching up to people. Did I do 2 in a row? I like that. I was like, I don't believe it. Barclays CEO Jess Staley was accused of lying about Epstein ties to protect his career. I love that. This is my favorite part of the story. Is he's like, well, I didn't tell you the truth because I was afraid I'd get fired. like that's an argument. I was like, wait, huh? Of course you're gonna get fired for doing illegal shit. That's what happens. You lose your job, you go to jail. A lot of bad things happen, but it's why you don't do illegal shit like that. Like that's why. Don't do that. Especially underage and stuff, like that. So yeah, he's kind of in an extra world of hurt now. I don't know if anything permanent happened to him. It is in England, I believe, across the pond, whatever. Pulitzer Prize winner's parting words as he abruptly quits the Washington Post after slamming Jeff Bezos. Bezos is having a whole lot, and it's all around this opinion page. There seems to be a butt ton of attention around this opinion page. Everybody that's been there, the person that was initially there that took the page to the levels it's at, or was, died. And then from there, they've been scrambling, it seems, and nobody likes what Bezos is doing because Bezos is like, yeah, no, we're basically here to support the administration, not constantly attack them. And the opinion page is like, that's stupid, you're fat, and then walks out of the room kind of thing. That's basically where we're at. So he quit, finally. He doesn't like what's happening, and Jeff Bezos has a wife that shows her bra at places where you probably shouldn't, even though she's about as hot a trophy wife as money can buy, right? I mean, I don't know. Depends. Some like them different, but still, what if I saw some stupid story that cracked me up. I don't know why I'm bringing it up now. Maybe this is why, but there was this body they found on a beach, and one of the toes was all off, and it looked bloody. By the way, it looked like there was some blood on it or something weird. That was strange. So it was severed. It took the investigators 5 hours. 5 hours to realize it was a sex doll. Wasn't even a real person. Never was. It was a sex doll. It was apparently that realistic, I guess, where it took them and they're like, wait, there's no parts inside here. Huh? Anyway, Meta can be sued in Kenya over posts related to Ethiopia violence. This is one of the ones I was talking about where I'm wondering if this is a transfer of money that almost should happen. Maybe Meta's paying back some of the karma it deserves. And that kind of can be legitimate. I don't mean that jokingly. I mean, I kind of mean that literally. I don't know if it was phrased exactly as such in the contracts, but I would assume that the individuals involved in the deal at the upper levels understood exactly what this was. And this is to help pay back for the damage they've been a part of. And I think Meta's going to have a lot of these opportunities, let's call them. Judge rebukes Fannie Willis, I love that, declines to send young thug to prison over social media post. So what's the funniest part about this, the whole thing, is first off, this dude young thug or whatever his name is didn't even know that he wasn't supposed to post anything about what this particular defendant was saying, or that their face, like they couldn't show their face. Whatever the case was. I don't know if I can find the name. I don't even know if it matters. But what happened is young thug found a post that posted this chick's, I guess, her face, like, and she wasn't supposed to be seen. Like, they were worried that people, it would affect the trial, even though they don't care if it's Trump that's in court, but whatever. This is one of the people that they were trying to fight for, right? So he basically reposted this chick's thing. And then we have, of course, our good friend Fannie Willis comes running in saying he just did this on purpose. We need to send him straight to jail. This goes against what his parole says he should do. So she was trying to already go after this guy again after Fannie Willis has been kind of screwed over because she is such a horrible person. Basically lost this case, which is great. This young thug guy, time served. He's out of jail. They were trying to put him back in for 20 years. I don't know. I can't find the person. It's probably good, though. I can't find the person's name that he wasn't supposed to share or whatever. But yeah, the judge even, I think, sort of said to Willis that, no, sorry, not happening. Kind of cool. Sean Diddy Combs, he was hit with a new federal indictment on Friday, charging the hip-hop mogul with 5 criminal counts, including racketeering and sex trafficking, court records show. He's been accused of a lot of rape stuff. I've kind of just been silent on most of that, not just for the only reason is because most of it's accusations. And as it's played out over the time that I've been ignoring some of this stuff, it's been funny to see how many of these cases have been dropped because people didn't want their names being revealed. They didn't, like, right? Like, it got, like, serious, and they're like, oh, no, I don't want to actually do this now. That's not true. So, yeah, things are interesting with Diddy. It's like when it's actually, like, the government kind of going after him. This is a federal indictment, so that's kind of a big deal. We'll see where that goes and what happens. All said. A lot happening in the world, folks. We've got a great music show that's going to be coming up as far as where I'm sitting, just shy of 3 hours. And we're going to be doing some incredible music tonight. In fact, somebody posted, and it made me laugh. They said, yeah, similar problem here. Let's see. He says, I'm still searching for my lost shaker and salt. That's what he said. It was Redneck Shark. I don't necessarily know if I know this person, but he's in chat all the time. Redneck Shark's a good individual. Or they're in chat all the time. It's probably a girl. Everyone's a girl, it seems. And I always think they're dudes. There was one called Black Hank. That was my favorite. That's my favorite example. I hope that's okay to say that, Mr. Hank, Ms. Hank. I know, it's a girl. It's actually a girl. And that was apparently the dog's name. Anyways, it gets into this long story, tripped me out. But I assumed Black Hank was a dude. It wasn't. Why would Black Hank be a dude? That's so silly. Who would never think such a thing? No. I suck at it. Whatever the case is. Redneck, I don't know. Sorry if I've offended. All said, we got a lot going on. I hope you guys join the music show. It's just fun. We got a cool community, and it's a really fun way to meet people that are similar and like-minded. You'll be surprised. And we vary enough to where it makes it interesting, I think. You can pick and choose. It's like a real good swingers party. That's all I'm saying, folks. Put your keys in the bowl. You're going to have a good night. I'm telling you. And it's remote. I'm, of course, joking, folks. Come on. I know I'm married. Oh, my God. I can't do it. I have a girlfriend. I know. She doesn't let me. I always put the keys in the jar when she gets here, but she doesn't think it's funny, so whatever. I do. All said. It's musical spotlight coming tonight. We've got a lot of music or news that's going to continue. I hope you guys continue with us. Yeah, what's happening is just a trip, and the bump in the night seems to have come. Hang tight, guys. Be strong. We'll get through this. We'll be stronger than ever after. This is just a momentary lapse of reason, if you will. It's on the Fringe. Oh, sorry. More importantly, where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. You had like too many shows stuck in my head right now. All right.